everyone, Stormy Strike here, and in this video I'm going to be giving my thoughts and speculations on the BreyerFest 2024 event models, special run models, and limited edition models. There will technically be other BreyerFest models revealed later on, such as the Best Customs Contest prize models and raffle models, but it's probably going to be a while until those are revealed, so I'm just going to be talking about what they've revealed thus far before BreyerFest tickets go on sale. This should go without saying, but I'm going to say it just so it's very clear. These are just my own personal thoughts and opinions about how I feel about these models and whether or not I personally want them. Me not liking a model does not mean that it's a bad design or that I think other people shouldn't like it either. You are welcome to love a model I don't care for, or not care for a model that I do love. You don't have to feel the same way as I do about them. This video is for entertainment and discussion purposes, and you are free to share how you feel about these models in the comments. Also note, when I talk about these models, I'm going to be focusing on just the models. I won't go too much into talking about the backstories of the real-life horses that some of these models are based after. I do highly recommend checking out and reading those stories about the real horses though, if you haven't read them already. I will have the link to the BreyerFest blog in the description down below. I was originally planning on doing a fairly long discussion about the BreyerFest theme in this video, as well as talking about the models, but I am tired and I don't feel like going quite as deeply into it as I was going to, so instead I'm going to just be giving a summary of what's the deal with the BreyerFest theme this year and my general thoughts on it. So BreyerFest has kind of like two themes going on this year. The main theme of Against All Odds, and then a sort of sub-theme of like girl power music. Also a bit of like 90s mixed in there as well. This is not the first time that Breyer has done something like this. Basically, the same exact thing happened in 2019. The main theme was Salute to Horse Heroes, and then they had a sub-theme of comic book superheroes. Honestly, even in like 2021, Horse of a Different Color, that theme had a sub-theme about art. So this is not a new thing for BreyerFest to have two different themes going on in one year, technically even three themes with an anniversary year, and I'm sure they will be doing like two themed BreyerFests again in the future. This is something to get used to and expect. It's not really that unusual. At first I was a little skeptical of the Girl Power Tunes theme going on for this year's BreyerFest, just because of my own kind of personal issues with the theme of girl power, and especially with how some corporations in recent years have been kind of abusing that to try and make money. Additionally, there is the already present stigma about model horses being something that people usually only think girls or women collect, when there are in fact boys, men, and non-binary people that collect model horses too. As the reveals for this BreyerFest have went on though, I definitely don't mind the theme as much as when it was first kind of starting up. It really kind of just boils down to these models being named after songs sung by women. It's not like the whole BreyerFest theme is being completely taken over by girl power everywhere. I think models being named after songs is actually kind of fun in general. And even when they are named after songs I don't personally really care for or listen to, I see other people get really excited to see these models named after songs they like, and that is something that is really nice to see. The only thing I still don't like personally is how a couple of the models' names do feel really long. I personally don't like it when a model's name gets to be like more than 4 words long, but that's just personal reasons and personal preference, and the majority of the models, I think their names are completely fine. Alright, let's get into actually talking about the models, starting off with the event models or the ticket models. We have Athenian Lady, the celebration horse for this year. The horse herself is absolutely beautiful, and her story fits the theme of BreyerFest perfectly. I do also like that she is bringing some representation to Western dressage. That's something that I feel like is a little underrepresented a lot of the times. For the model, I really like this mold and have quite a big conga of it now at this point. The color is beautiful, and I really like the markings, especially the face marking. It is so very cute. This is honestly probably one of my favorite celebration models in like the past 10 years of BreyerFest. She is a really fantastic model, a really good celebration horse and model for this year's BreyerFest. Then there is the Still Bejeweled Event Stablemates. I'm going to talk about them in general first, and then I will talk about each one. I do actually like all 4 of them. I like all their colors and their filigree. That being said, I don't really plan on getting any of them, mainly because I'm trying to be really careful with what I spend. If these models were like $10 or $15 each, I'd maybe get a couple of them, or maybe even all of them, honestly. But it's the fact that these models are probably going to be $80 for the set or $30 individually with the ticket. I just don't like them quite enough to spend that much on them. Wait, I just realized the Breyer website does say the 4-pack is a $90 value on here, which means that it might cost $90 for the set this year. Breyer, why would you do that? I was at BreyerFest last year. I saw that there were a lot of the stablemate 4-packs still sitting around when they were at $80. Over $22.50 to $30 for a stablemate, especially not with a super complicated paint job, and especially when we have other models like Buggy or this year's stablemate model that are only $15. So it just seems like kind of a lot for them and what they are. If the 4-pack was like $60 or $65, I'd be more interested in getting it this year, but $90 just kind of seems like a lot for what you get. Now let's talk about each individual model. First is Make It Pop Like Pink Champagne. Well, it's a nice name. I do feel like the name is really long. This is one of the few models this year where I'm just like, the length of the name is just too much. This model could have been called Pink Champagne or even Pop Like Pink Champagne, and I think that would have been a little bit better in my opinion. It's just a bit of a mouthful. This is probably my least favorite stablemate of the bunch, not because of the name, but mostly because I just don't collect this mold. I do really like the color on this model though. The color is gorgeous. It's just not a mold I'm crazy about. Waiting for That Green Light is very cute. This reminds me of a Christmas model actually, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people put this model with their Christmas models. This one would be my 3rd favorite. Blue jeans, white shirt. Gotta love this mold, the Cassidy mold. It is so beautiful. And I also love the color. You can't go wrong with blue. She is like almost up there with my top favorite, which is the next one. Suddenly I Was a Lilac Sky. Again, this is a lengthy name, even though it is from a song I like, but it's a lot. I feel like just Lilac Sky is fine. We don't have to go into a super long name here. I like this mold, which apparently a lot of people don't really care for or don't really like. At least that's kind of what I've been hearing lately, which I'm surprised about. I actually really like this mold. I think it is super cute, and I have absolutely no issues with it. I, of course, love the color. Now this one I may be willing to buy, not for the price of a general admission ticket, but maybe $25. Maybe not. The price just seems a little high to me still, even though I know I spend that same amount on Halloween stablemates each year. But those models at least usually have some pretty complicated paint jobs and colors and patterns and stuff going on them. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I will end up trying to get this one specific model out of this set. Who knows? Now on to the special runs. First up is Can't Hold Us Down. This is the vintage mold special run for this year. I do quite like the Indian pony mold, even though I know her name is not politically correct anymore. I like her color, and I like that it's something unique with these brindle striping marking things going on. We don't see Breyer do brindled colored models very often. I know we got the Queen of Hearts model not too long ago, but besides that, it's like how many other brindled Breyers are there? There's not many. Despite the fact I like the mold and I like the color, I'm not quite crazy enough about her to want to try and get her. However, I think I could be swayed a bit if I like her color a lot more in person. It looks nice in these photos, but hasn't quite grabbed me enough to want to get it. Maybe I'll have different thoughts about her in person. I know I did that a lot with the special runs for BreyerFest last year. Next up is Miss Independent. This is a really nice color. She is a Dunalino. I like this really nice kind of soft leg barring on her legs. And I'm sure she probably has a dorsal stripe. We just don't see it in these pictures. She's got nice shading and stuff on her mane and tail too. She's a really nicely painted model, and I do like her mold. But again, I'm just not feeling super crazy compelled to get this one. I do think she is absolutely lovely though, and I know there's a lot of people that conga this mold. Here is Sorry Not Sorry. This is a mold I actually really like, and yet I only have one model on it, surprisingly. I do also really like his color. It is a really beautiful color. I do love me some beautiful Appaloosas. He's got some fun details going on, like the striped hooves and the little like flecking paint that's probably like supposed to be herring sort of, or roning. And he's even got the mottling. I always don't know if I'm saying that right, but he's got those little spots around his eyes and his nose, which are a very important trait of Appaloosa colored horses. The only thing about this guy that I'm not crazy about is honestly the fact that he's glossy. I've been in a weird thing lately where I'm not as crazy about glossy models. I still like them, and I especially like it like on decorator models, but I've been kind of more like about it on realistic models. However, I still do want to try to get this guy. I think he is overall absolutely lovely, and I bet he'll look stunning in person too. This is my fight song. This is a model that people have been really going crazy about. The color on this guy is really nice. Nice frame Overo Pinto. I am not 100% sure how I feel about this mold yet. I do like it overall. There's like nothing I dislike about it so far, but I haven't like had one in person in my hands to really grasp how much I'm gonna love this mold. He is really cool. I might try to get this one as well, although I'm not as crazy about him as other people seem to be. He is lovely. I think he's another one where once I see him in person, I'm gonna maybe want him even more. On to the surprise model, which is called Surprise Girls Run the World this year. Obviously, I can kind of really only give an opinion of the name and logo right now. Not like crazy about the name, but I don't like completely dislike it either. I do love the colors of the logo though. Those are fantastic. The overall design of it is really nice. I will do a video about guessing what the surprise model might be, by the way. That'll be sometime later on though. I don't know when exactly, but I'm thinking maybe after BreyerFest, because we're going to get to see what the volunteer model is at BreyerFest, and that mold might affect what the surprise model mold is, so I might wait to do it until end of March or after March. Regardless, it's going to take me a while to work on that, so don't expect that out super soon, but hopefully in a couple months I'll be getting that out. The next model is the Edge of Glory, and I like the name of this one. It's one of the few model names that I just instantly recognized the song it was based after. This is a really interesting color because this model has both like little resist dapples, which is kind of more of an old style of doing dapples in the past, but it also has the modern airbrushed dapples. This is a really fascinating effect, and I don't think Breyer has ever done another release with this combo of dapples before. At least I really can't think of anything. I've been racking my brain about this guy for a bit, and I was like, I cannot think of any models where they've done this before. But if you happen to think of or know of any models that have done this style before, you are welcome to tell me that Breyer has in fact done this exact color before. I do like this mold quite a bit, and since I'm so fascinated by this color, he's another one that I might end up wanting to get. He is pretty cool. Now, the Mare in Full set for this year. And I have a feeling that Breyer is going to be doing a Mare in Full set for every year now, by the way, instead of what it used to be, which is kind of more like every other year. But since Breyer's doing Mare in Full Premier Club models a lot, and they surprisingly had a Mare in Full set last year that were also the vintage models, I just have a feeling that maybe we're going to see a Mare in Full set pretty much every year at BreyerFest now. Now, these two molds I have not seen in person at all. But from what I've seen of pictures of them, I think I do really like them, especially this mare mold. I think she looks so lovely. This color on her is just beautiful. Sometimes I'm very meh about some of the different bay models, but this is a case where it's like this really richly shaded bay that is just, oh my goodness, so gorgeous. I just absolutely love her. She is so beautiful, and I would love to add her to my collection. I also just now noticed she's got like a few little kissy spots on her nose. Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. What a incredibly beautiful horse. Now, the baby is also very cute. I'm surprisingly not as excited about her as I am the mare, but she is also very adorable. I like her coloring too. It's very fun with this kind of shaded gray, which might go into a different color as this baby gets older. Oh, they actually say the baby is a black Sabino pattern, which she just looks very gray right now, probably because she's a baby. She has two different colored eyes, brown and blue, which is always kind of a fun little touch. I Will Survive is the BreyerFest non-horse special run this year. It used to be like the non-equine special run, but because of Bridie last year, they're kind of seeming to just still do equines, not the typical actual non-horse animals, which is a little odd. I am happy to see them use the zebra mold again, though. This model is based on a quagga, which is cool to see Breyer finally do. I, however, do wish that Tegan of Zebra Strip Studios got to be the one to design this model, as she said that is something she's been really wanting to do, like her dream thing to do for Breyer. I'm kind of sad she didn't get to design this one, because I do also think she could have made this design of this girl even better. While this model is very cool as she is, I can't help but feel like she does feel maybe just a tad off somehow to me. Like the stripes on her neck and face maybe should have been off-white instead of stark white. Or maybe it's that they should have had her stripes come down onto her chest a little more. I don't know, I just feel like it's missing a little something to me. Basing this, by the way, on photos of extinct quaggas. Yeah, I definitely feel like maybe it was just putting some stripes down onto the chest or something might have made it work a little more. All that being said, I do still like this model, and I probably will try to add her to my collection. I do love the zebra models. I think they are so cool. On to the last special run, which honestly, Breyer had me scared for a little bit with the fact that they waited to reveal this model last. I was worried that they weren't going to do a decorator model this year, but oh no, they did. They did a decorator all right. This is Better Than Revenge, and she was inspired by the 90s. They said it could be whatever 90s aesthetic you associate with this model, whether that be Fruit Stripe Gum, or Lisa Frank, or Saved by the Bell. Or you could also just not relate it to the 90s at all and just be like, wow, this is a really crazy, colorful horse. I love her. I love these crazy, colorful decorators, just like the 90s throwback classic, and even Kaleidoscope, which I know isn't necessarily a 90s inspired decorator, but he is just crazy colorful. She is absolutely fabulous. She is one I'm definitely going to need to get and add to my collection of various colorful decorators. Also to note that this is the first time out of auction models that this model has the short scruffy pony mane version, which is really cool. This means that this mold has 3 different mane options that we'll see Breyer use as various releases, including regular runs and such. This mold does also fit a zebra pattern pretty nicely, so maybe this is not the last time that we will see a zebra or maybe zebra hybrid used on this mold. I'm sure at least maybe we'll see some people customize her as a zebra. Before we move on to my thoughts on the limited edition models, I want to discuss something I haven't actually really seen people talk about yet, which is speculating which special runs are going to get which kinds of variations, like half glossy, or a color split, or a small run of decorators. Also, this BreyerFest is a BreyerFest anniversary year of 35 years. On the latest episode of the Mares in Black podcast, they did interview Jamie and Kat from the BreyerFest events team about BreyerFest for this year, and they did ask if there would be any fun surprises for the special runs and such this year, with it being an anniversary year. And while of course they wouldn't reveal much, they did have this to say. We are working on something fun for the store, I will say that. That's sort of like a nice commemorative thing. And the other thing that is related to the 35th you won't find out until after the event. It will make more sense afterwards. As told by Jamie on the Mares in Black episode 113. That strange other thing that would make sense after BreyerFest, I'm going to guess is something to do with the special runs maybe? And it might mean that some of the thoughts I have to give here aren't as relevant as when I wrote them down before this podcast episode came out. Let me at least give a little background history if you're not familiar of what BreyerFest anniversary years mean. In 2014, it was the BreyerFest 25th anniversary, and they did a special thing of releasing 25 models of each special run, done up in a beautiful shiny silver. 2019 was the 30th anniversary, and they had a micro run of 30 models in alternate designs or colors for all the special runs. They could do the same thing this year and have micro runs of 35 for each special run, or they could make them a little easier to get and maybe do runs of 350. which that would be kind of more in line with those lower run variations they've been doing in 2021 and 2023. Obviously, it's not a guarantee that this is even what they will do, but I do strongly suspect we'll at least have something like last year, where every special run, or almost every special run, has some kind of variation to it, whether that is a 50-50 split variation or a lower run or micro run variation. Let's first speculate about the 3 common BreyerFest special run 50-50 splits, which are the glossy matte split, the color split, and the mane and tail split. For the glossy matte split, the most likely possibilities this year are Can't Hold Us Down, Miss Independent, This Is My Fight Song, Survivor and Fighter, and Maybe I Will Survive. I do think the Mare and Foal are less likely though, just because they've never done a glossy split on a Mare and Foal set before. The same goes for the non-horse special run, so I think those 2 are maybe less likely. Of course, Breyer can always throw stuff at us that we don't expect, which leaves the ones that are most likely to be glossy split are the Indian Pony, True North, and this rearing guy. Which obviously, if they gloss him, people are going to lose their minds. And considering they glossed the Shenandoah model from last year, I honestly wouldn't rule this guy out for being a glossy split. Although, as far as I remember, they don't usually do a glossy split on a very new mold. I forgot to check up on that. So who knows, I think it could go either way. Next is the color split, or the realistic color split that is. I'm not talking about decorators here. They usually do this one on a model that is a Pinto or an Appaloosa, which means the Indian Pony, Salinero, Fight Song, and maybe the Mare and Foal, maybe the Quagga. Again, they don't usually do splits on the Mare and Foal or the non-horse SR, so it's hard to say if they'll start doing that or not. I think it's most likely that the Indian Pony would get the color split. Again, if they do it on the Andios, however you say his name, I don't know. This Is Our Fight Song guy. People will lose their minds if they do that. Salinero would be really cool for the color split, but since he is glossy, that very well might lower his chances. I think he would look fantastic in a color split though. And for the Quagga, I think if they did a realistic color split on this one, it would probably only make sense for them to go with like a modern day Zorse or something maybe. Then we have the mane and tail or hair split, which actually none of the special runs this year, except for the Astrid Pony, have known hair variations in their molds. And I highly doubt that Astrid would get a mane split just because she's the Deco Zebra. It kind of wouldn't make much sense for them to give her a different hair option. I mean, it's possible maybe they'd give her the long mane version, but I don't think it is. Unless maybe they did some like weird, totally different color with her at the same time as giving her different hair. I don't know. And the fact that she's unrealistic could maybe make that possible. I honestly would not be surprised if we don't get a hair split this year with the special runs. They could surprise us and it turns out the Adino, whatever his name is, this dude, the rearing dude, it's possible that they could surprise us and that he has a different mane and tail option. That could be. And again, everyone would lose their minds if Breyer does any sort of split on this dude. Now that we've talked about the common split variations, let's talk about rare decorator variations we might see. It could be like last year or 2021 where they have some special decorators versions thrown in. They could easily do something fun with the current decorator special run. Maybe just change up her colors, or maybe even do that reverse idea with the Quagga and make her look like a realistic zebra. I kind of doubt they would do that, but that would be fun. If Breyer goes with rarer anniversary themed decos, I at first thought that there would be 3 possibilities for color. For the 30th anniversary, they did pearl, but they also had other colors and variations mixed in, so it might not be consistently one color across the whole lineup. Apparently, the traditional gifts for a 35th anniversary are jade or coral. Personally, I hope they go with coral. Not a huge fan of jade, but the other possibility I think they could do is just continue with the 90s theme and do some bright, colorful decorators. Who knows, they could even do a weird mix of all 3. I do think coral would look stunning on some models though. I did say I thought at first, well, you see, since that podcast episode came out, I have a feeling that we aren't getting a consistent sort of colorway across the special runs for a micro or lower run variation. I think instead we are going to get variations that may seem completely random, maybe both realistic and decorator. And then I think after BreyerFest, Breyer will do a blog post explaining what each variation is inspired by. I think that there will still be some kind of theme, though, that each of these odd variations will fall under. And my top two guesses for what themes they might be doing are either the 90s girl pop music sort of theme again, or maybe callbacks to BreyerFest history, like colors inspired by past models, representing past BreyerFest themes, or maybe even more niche things like BreyerFest history that aren't as well known by people. There's also a third possibility I came up with, which is perhaps these rare variations are sort of designed or picked out by longtime Breyer employees, like they pick out their favorite horse color, or a horse they used to ride, or a test model off the shelf, or just something that has some sort of special meaning to them, and then they make that one of the variations. I don't know, everyone. The possibilities are really endless of what Breyer might be doing. And who knows, they might not even do like a 35th anniversary sort of thing that I'm speculating about for the special runs. We just don't know. But I would love to hear what you all think about this. What kind of variations do you think Breyer will do? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now we will go on to the limited editions with my thoughts on them. First up is Always Chipper. Now this is an adorable pony and an absolutely beautiful color. I would totally get this model if I collected this mold, but unfortunately I don't collect it. It's a nice mold and I've had a model on it before, but I've just never really fallen in love with it. And since I am trying to be really careful about how many Breyers I buy and downsize my collection and such, I'm gonna try and not buy any models that are molds I don't really collect. So he is super cute. The second traditional LE here is Alan A Day's Work. And this is a mule model, which it is very nice that they are doing a mule. I do wish that they would come out with a new mule mold, though. Like, come on, Breyer, people have been asking for a new mule for a long time. While I admit I'm not super crazy about this older mule mold, he is a little outdated. He is still pretty cute, though, and his color is absolutely fantastic. I think I might have to get this one. I also have the sentimental reasons where it reminds me of my mom a lot, because I know she always really liked these long ear models. Next is Gascon the Great. I like this one, but I'll admit I'm not very crazy about it. I'm not really sure how to feel about this mold yet. I like it overall, and it's just a beautiful sculpt. I'm not really sure still how I feel about his tail. I love the rest of him, though. The color on this guy is nice, but not really amazing, at least not in these photos. And I don't think that's just because it's the real horse's color. The real horse in the picture does look like he's got a little bit more gray going on. He's not super stark white, but it's always kind of hard to tell with these kind of horses since they change colors a lot. I'd probably be a lot more excited for this guy if he was chalky or pearly, just because that's my own kind of personal preference. I do like it when there's white or technically gray. Models that have the white chalky base coat to them or have that really pearly color on them, I feel like that just really makes them pop. I will have to see this guy in person, though. It's very possible that he looks a lot nicer in person and not as exciting in these photos. And I will say his mane is really nicely shaded, though. I really like how they did the paint job on that. Now we have another traditional limited edition model, except this one is the online exclusive. And reminder that anyone can order this horse. You don't have to have an online ticket to order him. You can have an in-person BreyerFest ticket and still buy him. I know a lot of people were freaking out about seeing this guy. I like him, and I like his paint job a lot. It's really nicely done. I like that they added some color to his legs, and he's got some variety of color and shades in his coat. I am on the fence, though, about this one. I'm just not as crazy about the Fireheart mold like a lot of people are. I do really like him, he is gorgeous, but I don't know if I feel like I have to buy him like some other models. And now we do also have to discuss the possibility of this model having a variation, since he is an online exclusive model. And the past 2 years, they did do online traditionals that had variations. In 2022, the model was a glossy matte split, and then last year, the model had a lower run of decorator models. I feel like because this is a portrait model, it is very possible that he doesn't get any variations at all, except I do think it is possible that some of him could be glossed. Otherwise, I really can't see Breyer doing anything else beyond that to change this guy. They don't seem to really want to do drastic variations to models that are portrait models, and rightfully so. Just Like Fire is the decorator classic for this year. I like the idea behind this model. A phoenix rising from the ashes is a really good fit for the theme. I am honestly not super crazy about the design of the model overall though. There are things I really like about it. I like the images of the phoenixes and the flames. I do feel like the color is a little off, and I realize what it is to me personally is I think the dark purpley color going down at the bottom. I think if that had been brought up higher to cover most of the model's legs and even the belly, I think that would balance out the design a bit, as right now it's just kind of a lot of bright red and yellow. I think that also would help make the image of it rising out of the ashes a lot more prominent. Because right now, I didn't even notice this little bit of purple on him until I was looking at him closer the other day. That all being said, I might get this model anyway. Especially if he looks maybe better in person. If his red maybe is like looks a little darker in person or something, I might like it more. And there's a silly reason why I kind of want this model, which is that it would look really nice next to the High Tide model. Could do like a cool little fire and water theme going on with those two. I also do like this mold a lot, so wouldn't mind having another on it. Fortitude is the crystal model for this year on the famous rearing stallion mold. I almost always really like the crystal models. I think they are very cool and very pretty, but I will not allow myself to own any of them because I am always afraid they will break. On to the Best of BreyerFest Series 5 set. This year, this set is based on past BreyerFest raffle models. First up is Bulletproof, and he is a miniature version of the 2018 raffle model Woodford. This guy is really cute. This is the little miniature Clydesdale stallion, by the way, that has a different mane and tail. I really quite like this one. He is very pretty. Next is Dance the Night, done as a miniature version of the 2014 raffle model Kick Up Your Heels, and he is just perfect little miniature here because he's on the Fighting Stallion mold, but the stablemate version. I absolutely love this guy. He is so cool. I think in a way I even like him more than the actual original raffle model. I think his color is gorgeous, his spots look great. He is just fantastic. I really, really want this one. So much so that I think I might end up buying a whole set of these stablemates just for this little guy because I just adore him. Next is Flowers, done as a miniature version of the 2021 raffle model Bonnier? I don't know how to say that. I'm not going to get it right. Anyway, it's supposed to be like the Roxy raffle model here. This one's pretty cute. I'm not super crazy about it, but I think it is very nice. Then there is New Rules, done as a miniature version of the 2011 raffle model King Arthur. I'm not a huge fan of this stablemate mold. I like it and I have a couple models on it. It's just not necessarily one of my favorites. However, I do really like that it's after the King Arthur raffle model because that was the first year I went to BreyerFest. So if I got this set, I probably would keep this little guy, even if just for kind of like sentimental reasons and to go with my BreyerFest 2011 sort of stuff. Lastly is Wannabe, done as a miniature version of the 2007 raffle model Tacoma. I will admit I don't really care for this model at all. Not a huge fan of this mold, unfortunately, and the color isn't very wow-worthy for me for some reason, even though it is a Pinto. So if I do get this set, this little guy might end up going for sale or do him in a giveaway or something. I don't usually buy the Best of BreyerFest sets. I had the first one. I haven't bought any one since, but I think I am going to go ahead and probably get this set just because I do really want that little mini fighting stallion. I would probably keep the Clydesdale stallion and then this other little New Rules guy. So I might end up getting that set this year. Lastly, for the limited editions is another stablemate called Wild Things. This is a pretty little chestnut Sabino, and this is also the online-only stablemate for this year. Again, it's online only, but it can be purchased by all BreyerFest ticket holders, not just if you have an online ticket, so don't think you have to buy an online ticket if you're going in person to get this guy. He is very cute. It's a cute mold and a nice color, but I don't think he's one I'm going to get. As mentioned, I'm trying to be very selective about which stablemates I get these days, and while I do like this one, I don't think I like him enough to grab him. It is possible we might see them do variations of this model like they did with Buggy last year. They might paint him in a realistic color, or he could maybe be in a decorator color that maybe matches the theme ideas I gave before. Who knows, but this guy is up for the possibility of having variations. I'm gonna go into a section of the video now of just additional thoughts. So as of recording this video, Breyer has not revealed a limited edition plush for this year. Last year, they revealed it before tickets went on sale, so it is very questionable if they will have a BreyerFest Plush this year or not. It is possible that they do have one planned and they're just not going to reveal it until later. So I'm going to try and remain hopeful right now that they are still planning on doing one, but I'm also going to be prepared for the sadness if they don't end up doing one either. I kind of don't know why they wouldn't do a plush, honestly. The plush seems to be generally pretty popular. I feel like theme-wise, they wouldn't have too much trouble with coming up with something that either leans into the 90s theme, or they could even just do what they did in 2019 and make it a portrait of the celebration horse, which I would really be happy with either of those possibilities. I'm going to go back now to that quote from the Mayors in Black podcast I mentioned earlier, where Jamie said, "We are working on something fun for the store, I will say that. That's sort of like a nice commemorative thing." Which sounds to me like it could be something not too surprising, or it could be something more surprising. If it was something on the more surprising end, I think it would be a surprise reveal of another model, which could be something like a little classic model like they did with the Let's Celebrate model in 2014. That one showed past BreyerFest Celebration models, so maybe they'll do something kind of like that, or maybe a little stablemate. But it's also probably more likely that they're going to do something that's not quite so big as a new model reveal, but rather stuff maybe with like apparel, like do some 35th anniversary apparel, or mugs and those kind of different merchandise things that they do. Something maybe a little more exciting too is that maybe they do blankets like they did in 2014. Those were given out with free purchases and had the little BreyerFest 25th logo on there and such. So that'd be a nice little addition if they did something like that again and gave out or just made them like really cheap to buy little blankets for your model to commemorate BreyerFest. I'm honestly kind of surprised they don't do those more often, honestly. I feel like people would buy them up like crazy every year if they do a BreyerFest themed little blanket. I'd almost say maybe they're doing a plush and that might be the thing that they're working on. Maybe some sort of 35th anniversary plush. I would be a little surprised if that's what that's about though, just because I don't know, it seems like since people have been really expecting the plush every year now, I don't think that would be like that. But who knows? I do really hope they still do a BreyerFest plush though. Now this is a silly kind of random thought, but early on when Breyer started doing model reveals and they were showing the models named after pop songs and such, I was predicting and hoping that maybe they would do a Barbie themed model, especially because of the popularity of the Barbie movie last year. However, it is very possible they already had models designed and kind of pretty much ready to go and such when the Barbie movie really blew up. So it might have not been something under their radar at the time. It's also very possible though too that maybe they did know about it, but they didn't want to reference another toy brand, which is entirely possible. But again, regardless, I think it would have been a fun idea. Lastly for this video, I'm going to be ranking all the BreyerFest models into categories based on how much I want them. I'm not going to go through these individually, I'm just going to show you on screen in this chart of where I have them all placed. My top category for models, the ones I definitely want to try to get. Below that, the models I might try to get. And then the models I'm unsure about or think I probably won't get. And then lastly, the models I don't have any desire to get. That is it for this video. Let me know in the comments which BreyerFest models this year are your favorite. And again, I'd also love to hear what you think will happen with the surprises related to this year. Do you think they will have some kind of special anniversary micro run or lower run for these special run models? And if so, what do you think it would be? What do you think the little fun commemorative thing they're working on for the BreyerFest store might be? Do you think there's any other surprises we might end up seeing at BreyerFest? Don't forget to rate this video before you leave, and if you're not subscribed already, consider doing so, as I will have some more videos about BreyerFest later, and model horses in general. Thank you so much for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone!